What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review charged by BoardGameExchange.com, the internet's only board game rental website. And today I'm very excited to be checking out King of Tokyo from ILO. This is for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. It'll take about 30 minutes to play. And in King of Tokyo, you will be taking control of a monster, crushing things. Crushing your opponents, crushing Tokyo, doing a whole bunch of mean monster stuff, or trying to gain 20 points in order to win the game. Sound intriguing? Let's open it up and see how it plays. Okay, so inside of King of Tokyo, let's take a look at what you're going to get. First and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule booklet. It is 1-page, double-sided, full color. Actually, I lied. It's 2 pages, double-sided, full color. It is very, very simple to figure out. The game is incredibly easy to understand. You'll probably use this maybe once, 2, 3, 4 times, and then never use it again because it is very simple. Next, you are going to get your board, which will be Tokyo, and it has Tokyo City and Tokyo Bay. We're only going to focus on Tokyo City for now because Tokyo Bay is used for 5- and 6-player games. Next, you're going to get your monsters. These are going to be your pawns. They look very cool, but they all have the same abilities, and you're going to be using these as your characters in this game. Sure, they could have just given you pawns, but these are way cooler. So we're going to show you how a quick 3-player game will go, because this is 3 to 6 players. Next, we're going to pick out your spinner. These are where you're going to be keeping score. Now, how these work are, there's going to be 2 spinners on the side, down here and down here. One of them is going to be keeping track of your points, which are the star, and one of them are going to be keeping track of your health, which is obviously the hearts. You start off with 10 health and 0 points, and what you're trying to do is be the first person to get to 20 points or be the last person alive. So you're either going to be attacking people and gaining or gaining points. And which one you decide to do, you might say, all right, I'm going to try and score all the points I can this round, but you know what? If you roll 5 claws, it's just going to change your strategy like that. That's one thing I really do enjoy about this game, that you never know how you're going to play it. It's all based on the dice and the cards, which we'll get to in a second. Next, you're going to get these green cubes. These cubes are the currency in the game. They are very, very important, and you're going to want to have them. Why? I'll show you in a second. Next, we'll get to the dice. Now, you're going to get 8 dice. 2 of them are green. These are special dice that you can get if you buy certain cards. And if you buy that card, you'll actually be able to roll 7 dice. That's all. They're just special dice for if you purchase them. Next, you're going to get these 6 dice. These are the stars of the show. And on these dice, you're going to have a few symbols. You're going to have the numbers 1, 2, and 3. If you get these, you'll be gaining points. Now, how this works is, in order to gain any points, you're going to need 3 of one number. So right now, this is worth 0 points. Now, however, it's worth 1 point. You understand? So you get 1 point for that. Now let's pretend that we have 3 of these. This is worth 2 points because it's the number 2. Lastly, of course, this is going to be worth 3 points because it's the number 3. Now, how the scoring works is, this is worth 3 points. If you get another one, this is now worth 4 points. And if you get another one, this is now worth 5 points. So each additional die that you get that's that number, you're going to gain an additional point. So let's do one more quick example. Right now, we have 1 point. And if we gain one more one, we have 2 points, and so on and so forth. So those are the points. Next, you're going to get your electricity. These are these green cubes I was referring to. If you roll these and keep these, you will gain that number of cubes. So if this is what I rolled, I would end up with 3 green cubes, which I can use to purchase cards. Very simple. Next, you are going to have your hearts. And trust me, you're going to be wanting these hearts anytime you can get them. These are going to heal your character. You'll only get 10 health. Now, that sounds like a lot, but trust me, once you're getting pounded on, it's not a lot. The health, if you get this, you gain 3 health. However, you can only have 10 health unless you get a special card, which will allow you to get 12 health. But normally, you can only have up to 10 health. Also, another thing I want to point out right now is, if you are inside of Tokyo, you cannot gain any health. So you always want to think about that. You won't be able to heal when you're inside of Tokyo. Last, we have claws. Now, these claws look very cool, intimidating, and yes, they will hurt you. So, if you roll 2 claws, you're going to do 2 damage. Now you're saying, who do I do damage to? Here's how this works. if you are inside of Tokyo, you are going to attack everyone outside of Tokyo. So if this guy had 2 claws, he would attack these 2 guys. If you are outside of Tokyo, you are going to attack whoever is in Tokyo. So every time you attack, you are going to be attacking anyone who is not where you are. So these guys outside of Tokyo, this guy inside of Tokyo, which means he is attacking them and they are attacking him. It's very, very simple. Now, if you're both in Tokyo, if we were playing a 6-player game, then if this guy did an attack for 3 damage, he would attack everyone except for this guy because they're both in Tokyo. That's how that works. Now, one thing I want to mention again is if you go into Tokyo, you gain a point immediately. As soon as you go into Tokyo, you're going to gain 1 point. If you can stay in Tokyo the whole time until it gets back to your turn. So let's say in this 3-player game, I go ahead and I go in Tokyo. If I stay in Tokyo through this guy's turn and through this guy's turn, and then it gets back to my turn and I'm still in Tokyo, I gain 2 points right then and there. So that's a good chunk of points. However, it's going to be hard to stay in Tokyo. Why? Because once you're in Tokyo, everyone's going to be attacking you. So let's pretend this guy doesn't roll any attacks, so I stay in Tokyo, obviously. This guy, however, does 3 damage to me. He rolls 3 claws. I have to take those 3 damage. Now, I then have a choice. I can either yield Tokyo, which means I leave Tokyo, and he has to go in Tokyo. He doesn't have a choice. Or I can stay in Tokyo. Every time you get attacked, you're going to have a choice. Do I want to stay in Tokyo, or do I want to leave Tokyo? So this guy might really want to go into Tokyo, but it's not up to him. It's up to the person in Tokyo. You can never leave Tokyo unless you're being attacked. So, last I mentioned these green cubes. They're used as currency. These are the cards that you're going to be purchasing. Now, this is a big deck of cards. You got a lot of cards here, and they're all going to do various different stuff. Some of them, like this one, it will cost you 5 cubes. So they got the number up here. And when you buy it, you're immediately going to discard it, but it's going to give you 3 points. So some will say discard, and some will say keep. So this one is one of my favorites. This card will cost you 3. It's called Complete Destruction. It says keep this, so you're going to keep it in front of you where everyone can see it. And it says if you can get essentially a Yahtzee, a 1, a 2, a 3, a heart, a claw, and a little lightning bolt. I guess that'd be a reverse Yahtzee. If you can get one of each of those in one turn, you will gain 9 points. So that is a huge point swing. But the problem is, getting all 6 of those is going to be very difficult to do. And if you go for all 6 of them, chances are you're not going to attack that much and you're not going to get that many points. So it's definitely something you're going to want to consider, and you might not want to do it sometimes. There's some that'll give you more health. There's some that will let you get extra dice. Here's the extra head I talked about, which is if you purchase this for 7, you are now rolling a 7th dice, which is very, very nice. There's some that will reward you for not attacking, or some that will damage your neighbors, even the people that aren't in Tokyo. There's a whole bunch of different cards. I don't have time to go into all of them, but they really spice up the game. How this works is, at the beginning of the game, you are going to set out 3 of these cards so everyone can see them. So everyone's going to be like, oh man, I want to go for that card, but they're going to need to roll the cubes. So, to start the game off, we're just going to show you, last thing I forgot to mention, you're going to get these counters. There's a lot of round counters in here. Some will go on various different cards, and they'll say you get extra rerolls, or someone's damaged, someone's poisoned, a whole bunch of different stuff like that. So, we're going to start, and this guy is going to go first, and what's going to happen is he's going to get 3 times rolling the dice. He will roll all 6 dice. Now, this is the beginning of the game, so he's obviously not going to need health. So he's going to re-roll those. And you can re-roll anything you want. He's got a 2, which really isn't that helpful. He's got a claw, which he has to decide if he wants to keep. Now, when no one's in Tokyo, and you attack, you're not going to attack anyone, you're just going to attack Tokyo. So essentially, he wants to get 1 claw in order to get into Tokyo, but if he has 2 claws, it's just a waste. So most likely what he would end up doing is, he's like, alright, I'm going to keep these 2 3s, and I'm going to re-roll these 4 dice. So this is his second roll, and boom, lucky him, he got another 3. So right now, if he quits, he's going to gain 3 points, which is a good chunk of points. And then he's going to say, all right, I'm going to keep this electricity bolt because I like having that. And then I'm going to roll these last 2 dice 1 more time. And no help here. The 1 and the 2 don't do anything. So essentially on his turn, he would have gained 3 points. He would have gained an electricity bolt. And his turn would be over. He would pass the dice over to the next person. And that would have been the end of his turn. One thing I want to mention about these cards is you might be out here and you might be like, I don't like any of these cards. What you can do is called wiping the cards. If you pay 2 cubes of your own cubes, you can wipe all 3 of these cards and get 3 new cards out on the board. So essentially, you might have 8 cubes. You might be like, I don't like any of this stuff, so you can just wipe it, and then you can purchase one of these if you'd like. So let's do a quick example of someone being in Tokyo, how that works. So we're going to pretend that we're deeper into the game, and this guy is in Tokyo. Now, we're going to pretend that this guy only has 3 health left. So he's in Tokyo, he's in there, and he's like, all right, I want to do some damage. So he's going to roll the 6 dice, and of course, when you want to do damage, no damage comes up. So right now, he's like, I got 1 claw, that's cool. Do I want to keep these 3 for 1 point? No, I'm not. So he's going to re-roll the rest of these 5 dice. Oh, now he's doing 2. He's got 3 damage now. He's got a health, which he can't use because he's in Tokyo, and he's got an electricity bolt. So we say, all right, I'll keep the electricity bolt because it's always good to have the cubes. He'll get his 3rd reroll, and he did 4 damage and 2 cubes. So essentially, he would collect his 2 cubes, and then everyone outside of Tokyo would take 4 damage. So this guy would take 4 damage, this guy would take 4 damage, and he would actually die. So he is now dead. And once you're dead, you're dead. Unless there's some special cards that let you do some various different things. But 95% of the time, once you're dead, you're dead. So he's dead, and now it is a 2-player game, and now it's just a race to see who is going to die first, pretty much at that point. Or if you have a lot of points, you might be racing to see who gets the most points. Now that, in a nutshell, is how King of Tokyo is played. Alrighty then, Aiello's King of Tokyo. What are my final thoughts? Let's go to the pros. Let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody because it is a dice rolling game. That means there's going to be luck involved. And there's going to be quite a good deal of luck. You might roll 1 claw or you might roll 6 claws. And if you roll 6 claws, well, guess what? That completely changes the complexity of the game. And that's just something you're going to deal with whenever you play with a dice-based game. It's just a fact of life. Also, the game is very tongue-in-cheek. It doesn't take itself too serious, so the artwork is going to turn some people off if you're not into the theme. That's about all I have, because King of Tokyo is an outstanding game that each and every single gamer should own. Why? Because even if it isn't your cup of tea, chances are someone in your gaming group is going to absolutely love this game. Someone in your family is going to absolutely adore this game. This is the kind of game that turns people into gamers. Let me repeat that. This game, if you busted this out at Thanksgiving with people who are not gamers, everyone is probably going to have a good time. This is my new Ticket to Ride. I love Ticket to Ride. I will always love Ticket to Ride, but if I'm trying to get someone new into gaming, I'm busting out King of Tokyo now because it is so much fun. Now, some people are going to say that Ticket to Ride is still a better gateway game because it's less complex, and I will give them that because some of the cards in the game really are a tad bit confusing if you are a newer gamer. But once you start to understand this, I have not played this game with anyone who did not have fun. It is a blast to play. But I'm done with this. All right, why do I love the game? First and foremost, fantastic gateway game. Secondly, it's quick. It's only 30 minutes. Get it out, get it in, beat each other up, put it back in the box. You're done. It's a great family game. It says ages 8 and up. You can realistically play this with a 6-year-old. No problem. It accommodates up to 6, and that's only because there's 6 monsters. We've played with up to 8. Now, an 8-player game is completely insane, but it's still a lot of fun to play. The last thing I love about this game are the cards. I love the artwork, and obviously I like the monster theme, but I love the cards. The cards really spice up this game. This game without the cards is not going to be nearly as much fun, but once you start adding those cards in there, and you start getting special strategies like, okay, I don't want to hurt anybody, because if I don't hurt anybody, I get a point. Or I do want to hurt anybody, but I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. Once you start adding in all those special cards, the game really gets spicy, and it's amazing. King of Tokyo is one of my top 5 games of all time. It's one of my favorite games, period. I will own this game for as long as I am a gamer, so I'll own this for a very, very long time. King of Tokyo, I love it. Richard Garfield, thank you so much for bringing this into my life. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was a review for King of Tokyo. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner. Also check out BoardGameExchange.com, the nationwide board game rental service.